Yes, on our screen we have the Cubase interface. And the Cubase interface is designed to be user-friendly and intuitive with a range of tools and features to help you create and edit music. So here is a whole view of the interface. You can see we have an empty workspace at the moment, and there are some key areas I want to point your mind to. So we have the project window, which is this highlighted area. We have the project window, and then we have the mix console. The mix console is this. The shortcut is F3. We don't have any tracks loaded up. The tracks you can see here are just input tracks and then the stereo output. I'll get to that in a bit. But this is the mixing console. This is Cubase's mixing console. And then we have the MIDI editor. The MIDI editor is that part of Cubase where you can edit MIDI information. And MIDI stands for Musical Instruments Digital Interface. That is one way you can input notes into Cubase digitally. So that's that. The MIDI editor enables you to edit the MIDI information from an external MIDI input, like a MIDI keyboard, a MIDI guitar, or something that can help you translate the information input into the keyboard onto a virtual instrument. So a virtual instrument is a digital instrument that can be triggered by another external instrument like a MIDI keyboard. So the interface you can use to communicate between that is MIDI, which is the Musical Instrument Digital Interface. So a MIDI editor would enable you to be able to check through the notes and edit the information you get from MIDI. So that's a MIDI editor. We'll get to that also in a bit. Then we have the media bay. The media bay, this is the media bay. This is the media bay. The media bay is that part of Cubase where you can access the files and folders on your computer. That's the media bay. You can select a wide range of samples. You can select a wide range of samples and import them into Cubase. Then, moving on from the media bay, we have the VST instruments and effects. The VST instruments and effects. This is where the VST instruments and effects dialog box is. You can select various instruments that is available by Cubase or installed on your computer. So we have native plugins. The native plugins I mean in this case is the plugins that come with the Cubase software. Then we have third-party plugins. Those are the plugins or instruments. For this case, let's say instruments. The instruments you can install as an addition to your instrument banks to be used in Cubase. So this is where you get to select those instruments and you can see them there. We'll have further details as we go on in this course. One beautiful thing about Cubase is you can customize your workflow. This is a way to use Cubase. I can see the mixing console, I can see the project window, and I don't have any tracks here to view my inspector panel, but here also this is the inspector panel. So when I load up tracks here, when I add tracks here by clicking this button, you can see add track. When I click this button, add track, I have a wide range of selections to make. So here I can add audio track, I can add instrument track, I can add MIDI track, I can add sampler track, I can add an FX channel track, I can add group channel track, I can add a VCA fader track, I can add an arranger track, chord track, folder track, marker track, ruler track, signature track, tempo track, transpose track, video track. So these are the selections you can make to add tracks into Cubase. It depends on what you want to do. There are shortcuts to access the various parts of Cubase. I'll run you through this dialog box here. You can see this toolbar at the top of Cubase, where you can add a new project. For new projects, you can add a new library. You can open a library, you can close the software, you can save new version, you can import audio files, you can import files from an audio CD, you can import a video file, audio from video file, MIDI, track archive, tracks from project, tempo track, OMF, and so on and so forth. Then after you've done everything you need to do in Cubase, you can export for you to bounce everything down, for you to have everything on a file. You can export into various formats you want. The audio mix down, you can bounce the selected tracks. We call it bouncing in the audio world. Bouncing or export. You can export in various formats. Then we have the edit tab. The edit tab, it helps you to navigate some more intricate functions of Cubase. You can see undo is grayed out. You can see redo because we've not done anything yet to revert to. Then you can see the history. So for the number of events you've been able to go through, you can use this history to navigate and go back to a particular point in your timeline, in your project timeline, within a space of time. Then moving on, you can cut, you can copy, you can paste, you can delete, you can render in place, range, you can select. All these intricate areas are things that we would talk more about. Then for projects, you have this, you remember this dialog box that we brought out from this point here, where we could add track from here. From the project window, you can add the same tracks. This is where you can also find it on this toolbar. Add track. You can see everything here. So you can either choose from the project window or choose from the toolbar. You can duplicate selected tracks, you can remove selected tracks, you can remove empty tracks. There are lots of functions, and this course is to help you to be able to familiarize with Cubase and to be able to navigate through Cubase, and most importantly, to be able to pour your ideas into Cubase in a musical form. Then we have the audio. This tab is audio related events or audio events on the project window. We'll get more to that, and then these functions can be handy. Then we have for MIDI. Remember what we talked about MIDI? MIDI means musical instrument digital interface. So these are controls and options that are available for MIDI events. What we call an event in Cubase is a range of recorded material. So let's say, for example, you can see this dialog box I'm drawing. This is a range where we can record something. So this range of events is what we actually call event. But it's not tangible now, because once I release my mouse, it goes off. But we can make it tangible when we have added tracks. We'll get to that too. Then we have for scores. A beautiful thing about Cubase is you can input MIDI information, and then it can be transcribed into scores, where you can see if you are a music scholar and your way of writing music, or the way you are conversant with writing music or composition is by staves and the crotchets and the musical annotations, then this is for you. Cubase can give you that. Cubase provides you that room to be able to be efficient as a composer in that space. Then we have the media. The media bay is present here. You remember the media bay? The beautiful thing again about Cubase is it will show you the shortcuts that is assigned to a particular window or a particular function. Like here, open pool window is Control P, media bay is F5. At the earlier part of this video, when I opened the media bay, pardon me, I'm used to using shortcuts on this interface. It's been a very long while that I've been using this interface, so I just know my way around it. But for the sake of this class, I'm trying to walk you through the intricate areas so you don't just begin with shortcuts. But this is the media bay, and you can see the shortcut right in front of it. It is F5. Another beautiful thing about Cubase is you can assign this sound browser, this mini browser, and other functions in all you see here. You can assign shortcuts to them. That is another very beautiful thing about Cubase. The customization is out of this world. You can customize things to your taste and what eases your workflow. So back to media. We have open pool, media bay, loop browser, sound browser, mini browser, import medium, import audio CD, and a wide range of controls that you will get familiar with as you use Cubase. Then we have the transport. The transport panel. This is the transport panel. The transport panel shows you controls that will help you navigate Cubase, will help you navigate this playhead, to say the least. You see, you can see these parameters moving. So these figures moving. So this gives you an overview of navigating through the Cubase timeline. Let me hit play so you can see what happens. So I can play, I can stop, I can record, I can stop, I can loop, I can fast forward. Can you see that? I can fast forward, I can rewind, I can go to the next track, and so on and so forth. So much to the transport panel as it helps you navigate Cubase. You will get to understand much more as we dive in deeper. The shortcut to that is F2. You can see F2, and that is for the transport panel. Then we have the devices. This is the engine room of Cubase, where you get into the deeper framework of Cubase, where you get to control. You have the control room mixer, you have the control room overview, you have the marquee control, you have the mix console. Remember the mix console I brought up earlier on, and which is what you can see down here. As we open more tracks, you will get to see more tracks displayed on this mixer window docked at the bottom. Then we have you can find that in devices, and the shortcut to the mix console is F3. We also have two other options of mix console. So we have 3 mix consoles in Cubase. That's amazing. Then we have the plugin information. If you want to see the information of the plugins that are available in Cubase and the ones you might install, you have that. Then you have the plugin manager. If you want to be able to administer to various plugins, maybe you want to disable, you don't want Cubase to load every plugin when at its launch, you can do that. Then you have the record time max. The record time max will show you the maximum amount of hours available on your hard drive for you to record with Cubase. So as for this, my hard drive right now permits me to record 794 hours, 11 minutes of uninterrupted audio. That's amazing, right? Yes, you can imagine how many records can be recorded in this timeline. So back to devices, we're at record time max. Then we have the time display. The time display function gives you an overview of the time or the points where you are at in minutes. It could be in bars, it could be in minutes and seconds, it could be in bars, it could be in a time code format, but it just gives you a visual representation of time in Cubase as it relates to your project. Then we have VST connections. VST connections is where you get to make input and output connections, external devices that might want to interact or that you need to interact with Cubase through the help or through an audio interface. This is where you have those intricate connections. So VST connections, you can see it has inputs, outputs, group effects, external effects, outputs, group effects, external instruments, and studio. So for the connections, this is where the inputs and the outputs and other intricate connections as regards input and outputs, this is where you can make those connections seamlessly. Then we have the VST instruments. This is a shortcut. You remember at the early part of this video, I talked about that. The shortcut for that is F11. You get to see this dialog box here. Again, VST instruments. You can see that. So you can move that around, while here it is static. So that's about that. Then you can see the VST performance. The VST performance gives you an insight to what is going on in your computer. You can see it gives you a reading of the average load on your CPU. This is what the VST performance is. So if you have a lot of events going on and if you have a lot of plugins loaded on your computer, you can see it. You can see how much it's loading on your PC here. And if it peaks, then you begin to have glitches. So your system needs to be powerful, really, really powerful when you're having when you have a project that is CPU intensive. You need to have a very strong PC to enjoy the benefits of Cubase. But basically, if you're not going to be doing so much processing, then you're good to go. Then we have the video player. The video player enables you to view video files when you import a video file for composition in Cubase. Yes, you can use Cubase to compose for videos. If you are one who composes for film music, like I do, you would need this, and Cubase gives you that. If you are making compositions for film, you need to make specific compositions at specific time codes. You need this. Cubase makes provision for that, and that's really, really amazing. It's a plus for music composers, especially for film. Then we have other functions that you'd get to know as time goes on, as you get more familiar with Cubase. Then we have the workspaces. There is just one workspace right now, which is the one we have. So you can have multiple workspaces and you can organize them. It's like pages of a book. That's what it is like. Then you have the window, you have the VST cloud, where you can make on collaborations with other users of Cubase that are not in the studio with you. You can make remote collaborations with VST Cloud. You can make remote collaborations also and remote recordings with VST Connect SC and VST Transit. Then we have the hub and we have the help. The hub directs you to Cubase's database. If you have an original software like this, you can have more access to Cubase's tools that they provide for you over time. And there's a community too. You can see the Facebook community, Twitter community. You get to see more information about Cubase. Then help. You can access Cubase manual. It's always very good to read when you want to know more about a thing or you want to know more about a product. In this case, Cubase, you need to go to the user's manual, because that is where the manufacturer puts in the details of what you need to know about the software. There's a document available for that. But the essence of this course is to give you an overview and a quick understanding to using Cubase. For those of you who don't like to read so much, this Cubase course is for you. To give you a better understanding, but if you want to have a deeper knowledge of more intricate functions of some parameters in Cubase and how Cubase functions, then the user's manual should be your friend. You can also cross-reference with this video that you're watching right now. So that is that about the Cubase user interface. See you in the next video.